Hey everyone, Bad News Bert coming to you with part 2 of my Tempest Cup tournament in Lawrence. So sorry for the delay. I've been busy, and more about that here a little bit later. So, if you haven't watched part 1, please go back and watch that first. Spoilers ahead. Okay, so to recap, since it has been a minute, round 1 I beat Mortos. Round 2, devastating defeat to Johnston. Okay? And so now we'll go into round 3. It's the dablk. Me and the Dab are good friends, and we practice together. I've done more Great League matches against him than anyone else. We just practice Sylph League. You know, sometimes 10 battles in a night or more, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, we have this history, and looking at his 6, it's kind of some things that he's used before. Now, Tropius would do pretty well against his team. It could beat the Cilio, the Quagsire, the Lantern, and the Bomb of Snow. It would do poorly against Skarmory and Altaria. So you might think that that would be a good lead, but I do know that the Dab likes to lead with Skarmory sometimes, which would be devastating. Altaria is a good lead, and Cilio is a good lead, so I decided to go with Magneton, which is going to do pretty well against all of his team outside of Quagsire. And I don't think he's going to lead with Quagsire. That would be very brave. So, going into the match, I'm going in with, again, Magneton. And it's the Quagsire. Oh my god. The Quagsire, the very worst thing. He predicted me. I switched, though, to Lapras. Now, Lapras, you can see the Dab think about a switch and then decide not to because, you know, he probably had a Skarmory in the back, right? Ready for a Tropius switch in, and that would have been the end of the game, pretty much. He would have destroyed me. He would have built up energy. Lapras, though, is a nice neutral switch in, and it does exactly what you want. It's gonna be a close one versus Quagsire. I'm not sure how it'll end up. Investing 2 shields, though, and means I can block 2 high energy moves that the Quag has here in store for me that would devastate me. Those Stone Edges. I can get off a few more charge, like maybe 1 more charge than he can if I can get, if I can get to that Surf there. And seem to squeak it out, which is great. Huge turnaround with that. He goes to Skarmory. Now, I could have stayed in, probably should have. I switched to Magneton, though, which I guess is okay because, as we summarized before, my Magneton would do well against most of his team outside of Quagsire, so having that out of the way means I can switch to Magneton and just kind of go to town. Magneton was great at absorbing these sky attacks from both Altaria and Skarmory, which made him, I think, probably the most underrated Pokemon in Tempest. Magneton also does extremely well against pretty much all ice types, which is amazing. If it's double legacy, it's got to have double legacy. So he's in with Skarmory. I know my Lapras can do alright against the Skarmory, but he does take me out before I get to the charge, but it's okay because I still have my Altaria. So, good game, Dab. Round 4. EagleTJM, yet again. So I found it kind of weird how in round 4, just like in Tempest, I'm fighting Eagle. Just like in Tempest in round 1, I also fought Mortos, just like in this tournament. Might be something there, or it might be random luck. Anyway, Eagle's team. Pretty interesting team, I gotta say. Respect to Eagle for going without an Altaria. Instead, he brings in a Lowland Graveler and Piloswine, which is pretty brave with the Graveler. But he also has some solid Pokemon. Maybe he's trying to lure me into a trap. Anyway, looking at what he has here, Tropius is going to do really well against this team, beating Quagsire, Piloswine, Lantern, Graveler, maybe tying his Tropius. So, unless he leads with Skarmory, and if I lead with Tropius, I'm pretty safe. Looking at other things after that, well, I won't spoil it. Let's just get right into the battle. So one thing I am doing is I've chosen kind of to not show entire tournaments rather than just focus on good matchups. This is a good matchup. It seems boring, right? But the turnout is pretty interesting. So mirror match Tropiuses. And I know that my Tropius can do well against most of his team outside of Skarmory, so I really want to win this matchup. I build up to the flying type move with more energy, and then I unleash the lower energy move that doesn't do as well, and he doesn't block it. That's a smart move. I go ahead and block his Aerial Ace. I want to win this matchup. So I overcharge the Leaf Blade again and unleash another Leaf Blade. I'm hoping he's gonna shield these, right? So I can get ahead in energy and shields. He does block it. And I go ahead and block his, hoping for an Aerial Ace, and I get it. So this is very good news for me. I've got enough energy that I can build up to the Aerial Ace now before he gets his off. And he's either got to shield it or he's going to be in trouble. He doesn't shield it. He doesn't shield it, and I finish him off, and I've still got a pretty good chunk of Tropius left there. I go ahead and switch. Probably, again, didn't need to. But Magneton's going to do real well against Piloswine. But that Avalanche, man. One thing about Tempest is that I feel like people could have used stronger Ice-type Pokemon with like Avalanche, and then even like Ice Shard Avalanche would have been like really good. But I go ahead and take him out with one Magnet Bomb. And then Quagsire, he really should have switched that in there at the end. He could have used that to take out my Magneton. And then maybe done okay against my Tropius. I'm not sure. But that's GG, bad news, EagleTJM. Okay, so that concludes the tournament. I was pretty upset at my defeat because I felt like I had some of the best Pokemon there with Magneton, Double Legacy Magneton, and Double Legacy Lapras. But props to Johnston, man. Captain Johnston had a tough lineup. He beat Anthony first round, me second round, Eagle third round, and then beat Anthony again in the fourth round. So, congratulations to Captain Johnston. He's definitely a serious opponent. What else to say? Okay, so one thing I learned from this tournament while talking to Johnston is that their Topeka's tournament had not happened yet. And it happened to be on my day off later, much later in the month, nearly the very end of the month. So I decided I would try at one point later on to enter that tournament. I did make it to that tournament. Stay tuned for the next video. It's going to be very exciting as I go along with Anthony and also Jeremy Absol to Pika, to the enemy's turf, to try to challenge them for Tempest, and I try to get my redemption. So stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks again to Eagle for putting up, for organizing the tournament, and for everyone that participated. And see ya soon in the next video. Bye.